Hello, everyone. I'm Deb Sturdivant, archivist at the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center, and we're very pleased to be recording part two of our Archives Awareness Week event for 2023. As part of our Archives Awareness Week, we plan two speakers to shine some light on some of the cultures outside of our early European immigrant cultures, such as Irish, Scottish, English, and German. It's fairly easy to find information about settlers of those cultures in our collection, and less easy to find references to some of the other cultures living in the area early in the county's development for a variety of reasons. So, our two speakers discuss their experiences in discovering that kind of information. In April, Jenna McGuire gave a presentation to an in-person audience here at the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center about discovering local historic Saugeen Métis experiences and information through her research at various archives. And May Ip has now kindly agreed to record her presentation today to share as part of our Archives Awareness Week event. We're thankful for the generous support of our Archives Awareness Week sponsor, the Bruce County Historical Society. You can discover more information about their annual bus trip and other events that they organize by having a look at their website and Facebook page throughout the course of the year. So I'm pleased to introduce May Ip today. May immigrated to Canada from Hong Kong in 1995. Her research started as a hobby and gradually grew into a community project. The process of studying the Chinese immigration to Canada and to Grey and Bruce counties is helping May find her roots in the place she now calls home.
Okay, thank you very much, Deb. So now I'm going to start my screen share. 大家好，我係葉琪美。So I just introduced myself in my mother tongue Cantonese, and what I said was, "Hi everyone, I am May Ip. I'm an immigrant residing in Owen Sound, which is in the territory of the Anishinaabe Nation, the people of the Three Fires, known as Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi nations. I would like to give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, collectively known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of the land. As an immigrant of 27 years, I continue to learn about the history and foster better understanding of the life of the Indigenous people in our community in order for myself to settle and call Grey Bruce home. I am grateful for the teachings of my friends from the Indigenous community, and I'm committed to help other immigrants to learn and cultivate relationships with the Indigenous community in Grey and Bruce. So today I will begin with telling you a little bit about myself, and then why and how my research came along, and the role that the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center's archives play a very important role in my research process. And but before I start the presentation, I would like to share with you part of the traditional Chinese folk song. 在那遥远的地方，有位好姑娘，人们走过了她的身旁，都要回头留恋地张望。我愿抛弃了财产，跟他去放羊，每天伴着那粉红的笑脸和那美丽金边的衣裳。The title of the song was translated to In a Place Far Away. When I was doing the research, I caught myself singing this song many times out loud or in my head. The song is about young man's admiration of a beautiful girl. However, to me, it also speaks to the yearning of the Chinese immigrant men in the early years for their home and some days to be able to go back and to be reunited with their families. So I'm going to stop sharing for a bit, and so you can see my face. So a bit about myself. I was born and raised in Hong Kong and immigrated to Canada in 1995 with my parents and my brother. And very soon I met my husband, and we moved up to this area. We lived in Sauble Beach for 16 years, and then in 2010, we moved to Owen Sound. So I have always been, for all of my immigrant years, I've been living up here, basically. And when my children started school, I started to go into school and talk about Chinese heritage because I wanted my children to learn about the heritage, and there's not really a lot here, resources here in the area. And since then, I have been engaging the Grey Bruce communities in fostering appreciation of Chinese heritage and culture. And in 2014, I founded the Grey Bruce Chinese Heritage and Culture Association. And mainly, we bring together community partners once a year to coordinate Lunar New Year events. So why did I start doing the research? I think the seeds actually was sown very early. When I first moved to Canada and before we had children, my husband and I used to travel quite a bit all over to Ontario. And the first thing I really noticed was that wherever you go, wherever we went in a small community, there would always be at least one Chinese restaurant. So that really, I became really curious. So why do Chinese people go to like even a community of like several hundred people? And at the time, I kind of like have a crazy idea of someday creating a blog to talk about the wonton soup that the different restaurants serve. So that was kind of like an idea, and that's how it sparked my curiosity. And then the other part of it, the other reason is as my children started to grow up and as I started to settle into the Grey Bruce area, I I feel I feel the need for me to understand my place as a Chinese immigrant in the area. And because I'm the my parents came here with me and we didn't have any root in the area, and I thought that if I can learn more about the life of the Chinese immigrants that came before me, maybe I can make that association and help myself to find my roots here. And then the other reason why I wanted to do this research is that this is actually a learning process for me, and hopefully in the future I will be able to use the skills that I've learned and to help myself learn more about my family history, because my father was actually born in South Africa, and my grandfather on my father's side, in his younger year, he moved to, like immigrants coming to Canada, he went to South Africa, and it is also like for a better future for the family. So I'm hoping that eventually what I learned from doing this research, I will be able to apply to um, to learn more about my family history. So how did I start it? The research actually, like for all those reasons above, it started as a hobby, and it started only focusing in Owen Sound as well. So I wanted to learn about the people in the Chinese immigrants in Owen Sound, and my approach was I went to the library and read all the references in the reference section, and also read all the book by Chinese author that I could find. And the other part is, of course, by the time that I started my research in 2012, the internet was already very common. So I was able to access Statistics Canada's data and started compiling the names and businesses that were in Owen Sound area. So with the data collection, I think one of the things that keep myself going was to find opportunity to present my data so that I can kind of like reassure myself that I'm getting some contents that I'm looking for, and also hoping that with the presentation I will be able to connect with people who may have resources that can share with me to help me with my research. So in 2014 May, I did a very short presentation at the Grey Bruce One World Festival in Owen Sound about the Chinese immigrants in Owen Sound, comparing the immigrants in the early years and the immigrants who come here in terms of like which part of China come from. Are they all coming from China or from other part of the world, and also the kind of employment or livelihood. What do they do? How do they make a living in here? So just give you a brief idea. In the early years, actually, the first Chinese person who come to this area was in 1896, and there were two immigrants, and they came to Meaford and Owen Sound, and in Bruce County they came a bit later. But all in all, the first businesses that will come with the Chinese immigrants that will come in and start our Chinese laundry, and then it moved to restaurants. But nowadays, we have Chinese immigrants in different employments, different kind of work and careers. So it's a very different picture now. So another presentation that I did with the information that I collected about Chinese immigrants in Owen Sound was a video that I put together to show the first Chinese businesses in Owen Sound, and I presented that videos at the Lunar New Year celebration in 2015. So I'm going to share the video with you now. So just take a look. So I continue on with my research. And then in 2016, an opportunity came my way. It was an announcement of the Canada 150th grant through the Community Foundation Grey Bruce. So at the time, I felt I was ready to expand my research to cover not just Owen Sound, but broaden my scope to cover Grey and Bruce. And with that research, with the grant, I thought I would be able to really focus on my research and also create a presentation that I could share with different communities throughout Grey Bruce. So with the help of Grey Bruce Museum and Archives, I was able to obtain that grant and start my research. So with that research, the idea was to find out information about the Grey Bruce immigrants, Chinese immigrants in Grey Bruce in the early years from the start to about 1920s, and present that to different community. And I with the grant money, I was able to build a traveling exhibit with 2 vertical panels that was put on display later in the during that project in different communities, and also for me to go into this elementary school and do workshops. So when as the research was expanded, I needed more information and needed more references that go beyond the Owen Sound library. So that's how I started working with the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center archives, as well as the Grey Bruce Museum and Archives. And during that time, when I was doing the research between December 2016 and March 2015, 17, the 2 archives, both of them play very, very important role. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to put together my exhibits and the workshops. So speaking of the Bruce County Museum Cultural Center's archive, the first impression I have with the archive was that they gave me tremendous personal support. So our first contact was via email. So I explained the purpose of my research and what kind of information I was looking for, and then we kind of scheduled a time that I would go into the museum. I really didn't know what to expect, but then when I got there, there were already piles of references waiting for me, and I was really impressed, and I was like, oh, this is like, for me, it was like a little kid entering a candy shop. I don't know where to start, but then I was reading through all the information and references, and as the time went on, they continued to find they really the staff there, they were really helpful, and they really take the project upon themselves as if they were their own project. So they would find me the resources that they think I needed, and I definitely need all these supports. And one of the things that really is nice about going to an archives is that I was able to put my hands on some very hard to find printed references that are from the old days. So like old newspaper articles and advertisement and birth and death announcements and business directories and phone books. So people may ask, so why birth and death announcements? So for me, to research on Chinese immigrants, the one of the things that I could rely on is to find the last name of the people who live here. And looking at the birth and death announcement or phone book, I would be able to at least identify some of the Chinese people who used to live here. And but the challenge is that sometimes the some of the immigrants, when they came here, they adopt an English name. So then I was not able to be able to find them through the phone books and stuff like that. However, the backup is to go to the census data, because they will show the place of birth, and that I will be able to find the people who do not have a Chinese last name anymore. And the other very useful things I think is just come with this stage and age of the internet, right? So with the archives, when I first learned about archives, I thought, well, this is a place, this is like a wealth of stories from the past, and that I know. But what I was really always also really surprised as I started working with the archives is that they are so they're so up to date with like what are the online resources available. So, for example, I didn't know about the Bruce and Grey branch of the Ontario Genealogical Society website. So they introduced me to that. So I just find like without the archives, I wouldn't be able to do my research, and I will be missing a lot of data. So with the data that I collected, as I said, I put together a 2-panel traveling exhibit, and I took that to over 14 communities throughout Grey and Bruce, and it is a very short introduction to how the people in Grey and Bruce, how Chinese immigrants came to Grey and Bruce, and where they were and what they did. And also with the exhibit, whenever the exhibit is in the community, I would go to the elementary schools. So I have visited 13 elementary schools, doing workshops with the students and talking about what life was like for those early Chinese immigrants. So back to the research process. So I find that there are some challenges for me, as you know, there is no there are a lot of different immigrants from different cultures staying living in the area, and Chinese is very small number, and there have never really been any research that focus on the Chinese immigrants. So it's almost impossible. I would say it's impossible to find any direct references. So the only thing I could do was to, like I said, I read a lot of books that are written by Chinese authors, because they're even with fiction, they always have that background of the early immigrants, although it's not for this area. So what I found really useful, and with the suggestion of the archive staff as well, is that instead of trying to focus on looking for anything related to Chinese immigrants, I look more in more indirect for information. So, for example, broaden my scope to looking at some books that talk about the histories of the region, such as the one written by Melba Morris Croft, Growth of the County Town, Owen Sound. So in those, it take a long time, but again, I was sticking for treasure, right? So it doesn't really matter how long it takes, as long as there's references there, I will have to find them. And the other challenge that I found was that, so I had a focus. I wanted to focus on the early immigrants in as in a broad sense, Grey and Bruce. But as I was provided with references, more information comes out. So like for example, there is somebody who was living in, one Chinese person was living in Ripley for a long time. So I was like, so why Ripley? And now it sparked my curiosity, and I wanted to learn more. So it is hard when you're doing a project with a definite timeline. So I, at that stage, I had to focus on what I started out looking for. But there's still throughout the research process, I collected so much data that could really extend my research to go into details of even every communities and the timeline of like continuing the timeline from the 1920s where I stopped to the present time. So it is I think it's just with the archives there's so much resources that you can use to not just do one research, but from that research, what is your next step you can do. But for the meantime, when I have the project to do, I had to stay focused. So I guess that's my learning from working with the archives, and I really miss the time that I spent there, and I hope that I can go back to doing my research someday. But for now, I'm going to wrap up this presentation with another video. So a few years back, when my children were still little, my husband and I took them to Winnipeg, where their grandparents lived, and that was shortly after I started my research on the Chinese immigrants. And the immigrants in Grey Bruce, Chinese immigrants in Grey Bruce, they didn't just come here like the first group. The first Chinese immigrants actually landed in Kamloops out in Vancouver in BC. So I wanted to when we took our kids to Winnipeg, I made a point of stopping, and whenever we stop at a town for food, I would insist that we go to a Chinese restaurant so I can visit and have a conversation to understand the life of people, the Chinese immigrants who live in all these little communities and why they chose to live there. And when I came back, I put together this video, and so here it is, and I hope you will enjoy it.
The water is wide, I can't cross over, and either have I wings to fly. Give me a boat that can carry two, and both shall row, my love and I. Oh, love is gentle and love is kind, as sweet as flower when first is new. But love grows old and waxes cold and fades away like morning dew. There is a ship, and she sails the sea. She's loaded deep, as deep can be, but not as deep as the love I'm in, and know not how I sink or swim. The water is wide, I can't cross over, and either have I wings to fly. Give me a boat shall roll, my love and I.
So thank you very much for having me today. So I hope my presentation will help you understand how valuable the archives is and how helpful they are. They will jump on the first opportunity to help you if you have any research idea that you needed to do. And if you want to stay in touch with me, here's my email address, and I love to hear more about if you know of any resources that you want to share, any stories about Chinese immigrants, please let me know. And thank you, Deb, for having me today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, May. I think it'll be really helpful for others who've never used an archives before, but have some research they're interested in doing to hear about your positive experience. You know, at most archives, we want people to discover our resources and take advantage of the work that we do here. And we always want people to leave happy, having, discovered some information, even when sometimes, like you say, you need to dig. So it's also helpful to hear about your challenges and how you went about trying to overcome those. These days, some people do think that, there's an article or a book written about every topic, and there isn't. In this case, you're doing the original research on the topic of early Chinese immigrants. So we're going to be able to benefit from the research that you're doing. And on that note, thank you. May advised me that she's going to donate some of the articles that she wrote during her exhibition process, as well as the graphic of the banners that she created then. I'm going to share my screen here to just let everyone know that we do accept donations from the public. So in order to preserve our history, we need people to donate items, as May is going to do. So here at the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center, the archives accepts donations of all kinds of documents, record books, photographs, and videos from businesses and organizations and individuals like yourselves. We heard about some of the early history that May's been researching today, but we also accept more contemporary and recent materials reflecting all cultures that now reside in the county. So we want our collection here at the museum to reflect the traditions and lifestyle, food, way of life of the many different cultures that have come together to live and work in Bruce County. So please feel free to contact us to discuss items that you'd like to donate or make an appointment to come in and meet with us to make the donation. When May does donate her articles and they're processed, you'll be able to see the articles or the descriptions in our online collections website here. All of these websites are linked from the museum's main website. We also have a website with over 7,800 soldiers highlighted on bruceremembers.org. And this website of newspapers, which wasn't available when May was doing her research back in 2016 and 2017. But now some of the earliest editions of our Bruce County newspapers are browsable online as well. And here is the research room where May came to do her research.
May I say something, Deb?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have to say, it is very memorable, the time that I had to look at those newspapers with that machine. It's really challenging because sometimes you have this little, right, and you scroll up and down, look for things. So I was so happy when you told me a while back that you have a way to digitize that. So that is wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks again, May. Thank you very much. I'm really appreciative of you putting in the time and effort to come and make this presentation for us. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.